Hi guys! Today for our math lesson, we are going to be looking at fractions again. We're just going to continue to grow on the knowledge that we worked on last week. Last week we looked at the picture form of a fraction, and then we worked to build the number form of a fraction. And then later in the week we also took the number form of a fraction and then worked to shade in those shapes to build the picture form of a fraction. Today, we are going to take an even deeper look and look at pictures of different plants and see how we can visually represent fractions in just another way. So go ahead and follow along with this video and I'll explain how we're going to be doing our activity today. To get started, let's have a quick reminder of what fractions are. Fractions are parts of a whole. Last week, we did two fraction activities, one where we took the picture fraction and worked to build a number fraction, and then the second activity that we did took a number fraction and then we built the picture fraction. Today we are going to do a quick reminder of how to do those activities, and then we're going to move on into our new activity today of how to identify fractions from objects. First, let's look at our picture fraction. Here we have a square and it has been cut into two parts. So I know that the two parts here will go as the denominator. And then one of these parts has been shaded in. So this represents 1/2. The one part that is shaded in becomes my numerator, the number on top, and the two parts that make a whole is my denominator. So I have 1/2. So I can circle which one is correct. The next picture fraction that we're looking at is a circle. First, let's find our denominator and find how many parts make up this whole. There is 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 parts to make up this whole. And then let's count how many of these parts are shaded. This will become our numerator. There's 1, 2, 3 parts that are shaded. So my fraction is 3/4, which is right here. The second activity that we did last week took a number fraction. Our number fraction is 2/3. And now we are going to work to build a picture fraction. First, let's count our parts that make up a whole to make sure that our denominator is correct. There is 1, 2, 3 parts to make up this whole. That matches my denominator right there. Now, our numerator tells us that we need to have 2 of these 3 parts shaded in. So I'm going to take my red ink and I'm going to shade in 1, 2. So my picture fraction, 2/3, 2/3, matches my number fraction, 2/3, 2/3. Our next example is 5/6. Let's make sure that we have 6 parts to make up this whole, because that is what my denominator is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 parts on my picture fraction, and there are 6 parts that make up the whole in my number fraction. Now, how many parts need to be shaded in? Let's look at our numerator. There are 5 parts that need to be shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/6. 5/6. We have that represented in our picture fraction and our number fraction, and they match. Now we are going to grow even further with our fraction knowledge and we are going to see how we can match a number fraction to a group of objects. Okay, there are 5 flowers here. The 5 flowers match the denominator of our fraction, 3/5. There are 5 flowers and there is a 5 in our denominator. But now our numerator says 3. So what we are going to do in this fraction activity is look at how many are represented in our pictures. There's 5 flowers. There are 5 parts to our whole. And then we are going to take how many the numerator tells us. Our numerator for this problem is 3. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to circle 3 flowers. 3 out of 5 is how this fraction is represented. At this point, you guys have had a lot of exposure to fractions and your knowledge continues to grow and you continue to learn. So take time today and complete our fraction activity that looks very similar to the problem that we just completed. Great job following along today, and I'm so proud of the work that you have done on your fractions. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time for our next math lesson.